The next year, Shane was exposed as an abusive husband on ACA by his now ex-wife, Berenger Rose.
Show me your legs! Show me your f***ing legs!
Please stop.
Capacity building.
Please, I love you, mate.
And I said to him that he was taking away my basic human rights. And he told me that I don't have any rights.
7 years on, the former model says she's still emotionally fragile after being married to a man she believes was an evil manipulator.
What happened after our last interview with you?
It didn't end after I did the interview. He was contacting me from jail. You know, him trying to convince me to drop charges. So the only other way I can see that I'll be released is if my wife did recant her statement.
In 2020, the couple finally divorced. Since then, Shane Cuthbert says he's been trying to become a model citizen. That is, apart from being found guilty of public nuisance in 2021. He's launched 2 charities, Shane Cuthbert's Change the World Foundation and Domestic Violence Anonymous.
What did you end up doing with that charity situation? What's it called? Domestic Violence Anonymous?
Yeah.
What's the go with that? Like, what actually was that?
Well, it's you're the secretary.
I'm the secretary.
Yeah, you're the secretary of Domestic Violence Anonymous.
It's so offensive to me, the person that he victimised for so long, and it's just a scary thought.
Is he the last person that should be giving advice about domestic violence?
Yes. He perpetrated it against me.
To what extent would you say your ability to say, hey, I have this organisation called Domestic Violence Anonymous, to what extent would you say that's actually helped get your foot in the door?
Oh, 100%.
Really?
Yeah, like I've got personal mobile numbers of MPs and things now. Yeah, they think that I am like an expert in the domestic violence space and work with perpetrators and victims that are males of domestic violence.
Oh, okay.
And that I'm an expert in that field.
So as far as they're aware, you are actually running an organisation called Domestic Violence Anonymous and actively doing stuff?
Yes.
Oh, right, okay. Do you have to show them anything? Like, do you have to give examples, or do they just take your word for it?
They just take my word for it.
Shane's charities are registered, and his former best mates, Jay Morgan and Stuart Adams, were listed as director and secretary. But there's one problem. Jay says he knew nothing about the organisations.
Well, I was in total shock.
Jay lives with autism and is on a disability pension.
I just know it's called Domestic Violence Anonymous, and he's told the Australian government that I have a part of this, and I do not have any part of this whatsoever.
Jay had absolutely no idea.
Oh, okay, look, that's odd.
The tax office, you got to do a lot of paperwork for it. We had to have a lot of dodgy pretend meetings, you know, where we all got together as a board and decided things and had to show meeting minutes and things like that.
Wait, who's we?
Well, me, you, Jane Morgan and Georgia.
Does Georgia know anything about this?
No.
I take it Jane Morgan doesn't know anything about it either?
He didn't either until the other day, and he started freaking out, and then, yeah, he freaks out.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I must have, like, mentioned it or something the other day, and he was like, oh, what? And I was like, yeah, your name's on it, and it was just like news to him. He didn't understand.
Wait, is this... So when you set it up, did you have to fill out paperwork saying, I am Jay Morgan, here's my signature, here's my address?
Yeah.
Right, okay. So you had to basically pretend to be Jay Morgan and sign his signature. Did you forge his signature, or did you just say some random signature? Like, do you know what his signature actually looks like?
Oh, I don't know what I've done. I've probably just made it up.
Stuart Adam thinks Shane's charities are about saving his image.
Straight away when you do things like that with charities, they think, okay, they're using it to launder money or something like that, but there's no money going into it. So they'd be thinking, wait, So he went through all of the effort and the trouble to set up a charity just so he could tell people that he has a charity that doesn't do anything. Like, who would do that? So then they, like, start scratching their heads.
Well, put it this way, why did you do it? Like, what is your actual motive? Like, what have you actually gained from it?
Well, basically, only just being able to say that it's another thing I do in the community.
All right, so it's just for your own personal image and reputation and credibility. It's not actually...
Basically.
It just makes you appear more credible. It gets you to, open doors for you, wins trust of people that wouldn't otherwise have necessarily thought you were anybody trustworthy.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's...
I reckon...
I don't think that's illegal, is it?
Well...
To just commit, I don't know, what's that, like, character...
The consumer law... I think it would come under consumer law, like, because consumer law is like, where something's like false advertising. So it would be me advertising that I am an expert and a president of these organisations, but the organisations, they do exist. So it's not like it's a pretend organisation. It's like, it's an actual organisation, but it doesn't do anything. So it sort of is pretend.
He went through a lot of work to put the paperwork together so that he could say he's got a charity. All right, so what, you said you faked minutes, so you submit phony minutes and said that we were gathered around discussing the AGM or some shit like that. That's about it?
Yeah, probably.
All right. Well, I mean, it's not exactly the crime of the century.
No.
Especially when it would come down to, like, okay, but what do you gain from that? What's the reason for that? And I guess to explain to them... You were on a current affair a few years ago, being a domestic violence guy. It made you look bad and people didn't trust you. So what you thought you'd do is, to counter that, you'd go around trying to make yourself look like a good guy. So people would go, oh, he's a reformed, he's a hero. And then they would start trusting you again. So that's basically it.
Yeah. It's just not their day today,
I think he chose us specifically because he probably thought that we wouldn't do anything about it. And Georgia doesn't know anything about this. What's her role? Is she like a co-director or something?
Yeah, I think she's just a director. I think your secretary...
Right.
Maybe Jay Morgan's treasurer, I think.
Are they fake charities?
No, they're very real.
Okay.
Very registered, and we do a lot of great work, so...
I've got a website, and so instead of doing meetings in person, I've just set it up so that I can do meetings online via Zoom.
All right. And how is that something that you actually do?
No.
Oh, right.
I don't have done nothing.
Could you provide proof of where the money is that you collect from these charities, where it goes to?
Not right